Okay, call a meeting of the Middletown Police Commission to order. Do an attendance. President is Commissioner Vignola, Commissioner Mills, Commissioner Rodriguez, and myself, Chief of Police, is here, and Alderman Kleiner in the audience. Absent is Commissioner Sullivan. Chief, over to you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the Commission. Happy New Year. Thank you for coming out in this cold weather as well. Appreciate it. So in addition to our normal agenda, I have two potential police officer candidates to present to the Commission this evening for interview purposes. So later in the meeting, I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters to include not just updates on internal situations, but also for interview purposes.
Motion?
No, we're not now.
Oh, not now?
I was just
Oh,
laying the
later on,
groundwork.
Okay, I got you.
And I did forward the Commission the backgrounds of the potential candidates for review. So communication since our last meeting, I did email the Commission a couple items, all pertaining to end-of-year reports. So I did email the Commission the 2023 year-end report, the 2023 firearms discharge report, the 2023 personnel complaint report, and the 2023 year-end statistical report. Any discussion? Would you like to talk about them in more detail? No?
You want
No?
numbers? Numbers? How's it reported?
No, well, one issue, Chief, that you and I have discussed privately is the switch, the changeover from system, the old system for reporting to the newer system in the last couple of years, and how they've inflated the numbers because of multiple crime reporting.
Correct.
And we're going to try to, my understanding is that not all communities are on this new crime reporting process right now. Is that correct?
That's what I understand as well, and there's actually a new version coming out again. So we went from UCR to IBR, and now there's going to be another NIBRS is coming out as well.
Do you know if they're going to try to make corrections in the errors in this new system? Because it seems like it inflated our crime numbers.
It does, and this is something we talked about in the front end. So in the traditional UCR data, the UCR only pulled like one number or one crime.
Right.
Where IBR is pulling all crime, so it does have an increase in crime numbers.
So if you have one incident with multiple charges,
It's collecting all
it's
of them.
collecting all of them, and they're all being put into the system.
Yes.
And you follow what I'm saying, you guys?
Yep.
And thus because I guess the general feeling in the public is, and amongst, I think, many of us, is that we have less crime, but the numbers are not reflecting that because of this reporting.
Reporting. So I think that it may be a little more than reporting as well. Some of it is like the crimes that we're seeing the spikes, and we're seeing that revolving door of where it's in years past before some of the reform, people were held accountable a little differently. So in today's environment, they are being released. We're seeing them being repeat offenders. I do share the repeat offender list with the Commission when it comes out quarterly. But that is a part of it as well. I think it's kind of a couple approaches there. As far as mandating other municipalities to do the same, it was my understanding when it was transitioned from UCR to IBR that there was an end date that everybody had to go. I don't know what the governance of that is to ensure that everyone is going that route. We tried to comply and, stay in accordance with what was required of us. And I do agree, Mayor, like when I look at the day-to-day operations, it doesn't feel as if the numbers reflect. Like, I feel like we have a better handle on it than what some of the numbers reflect. And some of those numbers, like the titles are alarming. But when you actually drill into this case, it's domestic related, or it's not like when you see like an assault, you think something horrific. But a lot of them are related to a domestic case or even a sexual type. They show up as rapes. That could be like a sexual misconduct. That could be between two youth in a school. It could be domestic. So
But it's not a random act. It's more amongst people who know each other.
so far, yes. And traditionally, most of our crime has been like kind of known offender versus victim. We have a portion of random crimes, but it doesn't seem to be the movement, like momentum behind it.
Are the crimes that are reported, say, like an assault, if it's played down to like a harassment, or is it considered still an assault?
It is, yes. It's how it's being arrested and charged at. And I mean, that's a whole nother I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. Like if you get into that, I mean, crime numbers would be totally different because then you have plea agreements that are done. It doesn't mean that the person didn't commit the assault. That's just part of the process that it's pled down. I mean, if you go back 2 years ago, we charged a murder for an incident at Maryland Avenue that was no billed. Doesn't mean that we didn't have a murder, like someone was still dead. And any of those plea agreements, like the end result isn't our crime statistic, it's what's reporting and what we investigate. We've also been looking at them. I have the clerk like drilling into them a little bit better. When it comes in as, a call comes in as a robbery. And when we investigate it, we realize, hey, that's not the proper charge, even if it did happen. She's been very good about bringing that to light so we could change it to the appropriate charge and bring it to where it's supposed to be.
And the reporting system, is that per New York State or?
Yeah, yes, it's New York State.
And New York State doesn't tell the other towns and cities or villages to do the same thing?
They do. As I was saying to the mayor, there was a go live date. Like everybody had to be to IBR by a certain date. I don't know what the oversight of that is. Like if you didn't do it, they're not going to come and take your policing away. Like I don't know what the backlash or anything is for that. So yeah, our numbers this year, and I have some of that to get into. Our numbers went up, especially our Part 1 crimes seem to have climbed this year more so than they have in the previous years.
And having younger police officers, newer police officers, they're out there.
So if you look at not just the crime numbers, our reported crimes have increased, but so have our arrests.
Right.
So to me, that shows that the officers are working as well. It wasn't a drastic increase in arrests this year, but there was an increase. So it's not that they're not trying to address that. And those numbers don't even touch on like our quality of life offenses that we do on city code.
That's better.
That we try to address locally with our corporation council to address some of the concerns that we've identified that are, important to us in this community that Alex has been gracious enough to work with us on to find a local solution to, which has been effective as well, it's actually a very effective means. So I don't have a simple solution, I'm sorry.
No, understood.
But we do put all that out there so that we could all see it. We try to be transparent with it. I do have some numbers to get into for like year ends and like the differences and whatnot. Some old business. The last meeting I spoke with the commission in regards to, I had a trailer with cameras on it placed at Park Circle. I was demoing it. I really like the concept of it, but I realized there are some shortcomings of that company. So I am exploring some other options. I've actually had meetings with 2 different vendors now that are going to present a solution, maybe a little bit more cost effective and a little bit more user friendly. And one may integrate into our current camera system. So I'm waiting to see their proposals before we move forward with anything like that. I got a lot of positive feedback from members of the community. And we do believe that it had an impact in that area. So definitely still want to explore that option. I just wanted to explain why it's not there right now. In regards to our minutes from our December meeting, I did forward them to the commission as well for your review. So if you would like to discuss them. Any omissions, errors, concerns? Commissioner Vignola's slacking. I've been throwing some stuff in there to see if you find it.
That's all it is.
I do that so you have to print it a couple times.
Well, this is the next meeting scheduled for January 18th, 2023.
You missed that
I
one.
don't want to do that.
I will correct that. I will correct that if there's no other. Oh,
I had to do it myself.
no. I'll correct it in a minute so when they're filed that it's anything else. I'm behind the times a little bit. I'm sorry.
Well, at least you know I read it.
Do it on purpose. But thank you. Any other? Nothing? I'll make that change right now, sir, so that I don't forget.
To Jersey.
So with that minor correction, I'll make that. Could I have a motion to accept them with that minor correction being made? I have a motion by Commissioner Mills, second by Commissioner Vignola. All in favor?
Aye.
So looking at the December monthly report, So December of 2023, the department handled 2,373 calls for service, which was an 11% decrease from the previous month, in which we handled 2,665 calls for service. Part 1 crimes for the month of December, the department investigated 38 Part 1 crimes, 6 of which were categorized as violent and 32 categorized as property. Out of those property, again, it's been pushing our numbers pretty much in that area all year. 28 of those were larceny related. In November, we investigated 44 Part 1 crimes. In regards to Part 2 crimes, in the month of December, the department investigated 170 in comparison to 114 in November, so we saw an uptick there. And then arrests for the month of December, the department made 151 arrests, which was a slight decrease from 161 in the month of November. The department did issue 280 traffic summons in the month of December. Again, a decrease from the previous month, in which 338. And parking tickets, the department issued 1,024 for the month, which is a significant increase from the previous month of 294, but that's also relevant to the overnight parking going into effect. And then uses of force for the month, out of the 151 arrests, 6 of those resulted in some type of force being used, which equates to just under 4%, which is kind of where we average between somewhere in that 3%. Shots fired for the month, calls of shots fired, reported shots fired for the month of December. There's a total of 4, 2 of which were founded, 2 were unfounded. December 6th, we had a report from Orange Terrace out into the wooded area. Officers checked, canvassed the area. They actually interviewed people on the street. Sounded like it was out even farther into the wooded area. It was also during the hunting season. The 7th of December was the incident that occurred on Knapp Avenue involving New York City detectives that were looking for someone, which we discussed in the last meeting. December 9th, we had an incident on Jordan Lane in which a retired law enforcement officer, I believe it was New York City they were retired from, had a mishap with their legal firearm and self-inflicted gunshot wound to their foot. And then on the 23rd of the month, we had numerous calls in regards to multiple shots fired, which through investigation, it was found to be an event that was going on at the fairgrounds. Any discussion in regards to the December statistics? Okay. So just a quick overview in regards to year-to-date for the 2023 year. I'll just go through kind of the main parts, and if the commission would like to talk about them more in depth, do my best to answer the questions. And this is all also in our yearly report as well. So for 2023, the department handled 34,782 calls for service, which was a 1.6% increase over the previous year of 34,208 calls for service. Case reports, that's anything that requires some type of follow-up from the officers and investigation, documentation in regards to something. In 2023, they authored 4,858 case reports in comparison to 4,637 in 2022. Part 1 offenses for 2023, we investigated 708 Part 1 offenses in comparison to 578 in the previous year, which is just about a 22.5% increase. Part 2 offenses, 2023, was 1,812 in comparison to 1,655, which is about a 9.5% increase. Arrests for 2023 were 2,657 in comparison to 2,502, which was about a 6.2% increase. Traffic summons for the year 2023, we issued 6,120 in comparison to 4,041, which is just over a 50% increase. Parking summons, 2023, 5,715 were issued in comparison to 5,679 in 2022. Uses of force for 2023, we saw a decrease. There were 95 incidents involving a use of force in comparison to 106 in 2022. And overall, for 2023, year-to-date, the number of use of force incidents in comparison to arrests was 3.6 4.6%. In 2024 was 4.25%. So we saw some positive movement there. Would the commission like to discuss them in more detail? Questions, thoughts?
Sounds good.
I would just like to say that, the use of force decreased by 10%?
Yes, it was 10.4%. It's just minimal number-wise, but it's going in the right direction, especially arrest went up as well.
Yeah, excellent.
We invest, I mean, you guys know that we invest in the training, and we try to continue to do that. Staffing. So currently, as we sit here this evening, I have 71 sworn personnel budgeted for 75 in the 2024 budget. 4 vacancies. This evening we'll be interviewing 2 potential candidates for possible hire. Out of the 71 that I currently have, 2 are on admin duty, which we could discuss in executive session as to why they're on admin duty. I have 1 deployed on military leave still, which he won't return until sometime in later this year into the late summer, fall. And now you have 2 in the police academy still, which will be graduating here soon. So since our last meeting, police officers Brownstein and Lane graduated from the police academy on December 22nd, and they have started their field training. So far, so good. They're happy as could be to be there, learning each day. Then the 2 that are in the police academy now are the police officer recruits Hodges and Pearson. They conclude the police academy on February 2nd. The graduation will be at the Paramount. It's Friday, February 2nd, 10 a.m. And everyone is welcome to come and see how that goes. It's a beautiful venue for it. It works out really good. I saw them both today in the academy. They both seem to be doing very well. Our next police academy is scheduled to start on March 4th. And in addition to the 2 potential officers that were candidates we're presenting this evening, we are still doing additional backgrounds, and if the commission is open to it, I'd have additional backgrounds or candidates to present in the February meeting for interview. Also, since our last meeting, Police Officer McDonald, along with his canine partner Camo, graduated the explosives training, canine training, on December 21st. They held a small graduation ceremony at the 911 center for them. So he is back on patrol, fully certified. His dog looks amazing, very energized and energetic. And
What kind of dog?
it's the Malinois, is that how you say it?
Belgian Malinois?
Yes. That seems to be the direction most dogs are going now.
Even for bomb
Yeah,
dogs,
they seem to have that same drive, a very high drive, not as big and heavy. Also, in regards to canine, Officer Berman has been with his canine partner now for 8+ years, canine hunter. And so we're looking to retire canine hunter here in the coming months. He's showing his age a little bit. And after speaking with my admin staff and our lieutenants, we'll be looking to give Officer Berman another canine as he wants to continue working. He's very well versed in it. He's got a drive, dedication. So we'd be looking to do that. We did budget for a replacement canine in our capital budget, in our 2023-24 capital budget, so it is funded. And we'd be looking to have something in place because the next canine academy starts in March. So Officer Berman's current canine is trained in patrol and narcotics. With the changes in laws that have occurred, the narcotics really isn't that useful because they're trained on multiple disciplines in narcotics, which includes marijuana. And when the state changed the marijuana laws, we can't on-train the dog to smell marijuana. So going forward, this new dog, we would also train in narcotics, but it would not be trained in the marijuana. So it would be more useful for us going forward as well. Any thoughts, questions?
I like the dogs.
And that would keep us at 3 canines, and seems to be a good number for us. They're expensive, very expensive. Since our last meeting, some of the training, or this is the training that the department participated in throughout the month of December. I'd mentioned it, we were partly through it by the time of our last meeting, we did our winter session of in-service training, which included refresher topics on taser, use of force, legal updates, and criminal complaints. We've participated in reality-based training as instructors. We send people to street cops, social media, and open source investigations. Officers went to recognizing the marijuana impaired driver. We've sent instructors to the academy to teach breath analysis operator. We sent dispatchers to dispatcher in-service training. We've sent instructors to the police academy for EMS training instruction. We did an AED overview for Department of Public Works workers. We sent an officer to the academy to assist with rifle and shotgun familiarization. We sent officers to a device ID by location training. We sent instructors to the police academy for procedural justice instruction. And we sent instructors to the academy for narcotics and dangerous drugs instruction. And for the year 2023, we sent officers from members of the department, from myself to the dispatchers and everyone in between, to 188 different trainings throughout the year. Our goal was 200, but we fell short, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. So we have a goal for this year. Any discussion, thoughts on training?
The firearms training, we hear that there's changes in the firearms training that like the state police hasn't adopted.
I don't know what the state police, we are governed by the Department of Criminal Justice. So the Department of Criminal Justice over the last couple of years has talked about some new changes that are coming out in regards to qualifications. So all of our instructors are Department of Criminal Justice certified. So as those changes are implemented, we'll be implementing them. Knowing in-house, we know some of them are coming. So we've started that transition. The biggest change is the time. So a lot of the qualifications now have a very restrictive time to them. So we bought, like, it's a little beeper. So it starts and ends within that time frame. So we have been doing that now for about a year and a half to prepare our officers to be able to qualify when that new training regimen is actually implemented fully.
That's what it was. I know somebody was telling us.
Yeah, as far as state police, I don't know if they do something different. But,
They do. They said they're not gonna follow. They're special.
well, that's okay. Since the last time we met, we were just awarded a grant from the Department of Criminal Justice. It's coming from the Burn JAG money. We were awarded $73,051, which would be utilized for the purchase of additional portable radios, both the handheld ones and vehicle ones, a new patrol bicycle, and an evaluation with a company that specializes in doing shift and staffing evaluations. So this is something we spoke about internally to make sure that we're aligning our staff the right hours of the day. So this company, what they do is they drill in. We have a meeting with them on the 29th to start the discussion into the next phase. Now with it, we have been approved for the funding for this program. They'll drill into all of our calls for service as far as time of day of week, type of call. And at the end, they will give us an assessment of how we should best align our staffing to best meet the needs of the community, the call volume, the times of day, those types of things. So we're very interested to see where this comes from. They will also address, based on call volume, like what our department should have personnel-wise, whether or not we have too many, not enough supervisors, too many, not enough detectives, that type of stuff. Let's just give us an idea of where we need to start looking at to go in the future. I'm happy that it's a grant-funded program. This evaluation is about $30,000, and it's very in-depth. Many reports that will come from it, and I'll keep the commission up to speed as we progress through it. It has not been done in our organization, to my knowledge, ever. So it'll be very interesting to see what they say. Community events. Too Good for Violence program. We had 2 graduations, one on December 19th at the Carter Elementary School, and then one was just January 5th at Maple Hill. Great program, get a lot of great feedback. In fact, myself and the mayor attended a meeting on January 11th in regards to the incident that occurred at the Monhegan Middle School, and that came up in that conversation as well. And that, what I'm referencing, the January 11th meeting, the mayor and I sat on a panel of a town hall meeting for residents and parents to come and address concerns that they may have in regards to the school. Thought it was pretty, one, it was well attended. And two, I thought it was a very productive with some valid information from both ends going back and forth. So I did forward the commission some internal investigations for review. I don't know if the commission had the opportunity to review them, if you'd like to discuss them, vote on them, table them into executive session to talk about them further. It's your prerogative.
I was fine with your recommendations.
Me too.
Okay.
Gene? The internal recommendations from the chief, disciplinary, were you okay with them?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
So I was just,
So just for records purposes, I'll just read a brief into the records, and then I'd be looking for a motion to accept them as written. So the three that I forwarded to the commission for review, one would be case number 22-8848, and that's an alleged use of force injury sustained by a defendant after investigation that was found, determined to be unfounded. The second one would be case number 23-27287, and that is a investigation pertaining to a domestic incident, which resulted in a warning letter to the officer involved. The third one is case number 233966, which pertains to investigation related to excessive use of force that was deemed to be founded and resulted in a 10-day suspension, training, and some counseling for the involved officer. So being those are the three that were forwarded to the commission, could I have a motion to accept them as written?
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Mills. All in favor?
All right.
Thank you. That is all I have on the open agenda this evening, unless the commission has anything they would like to discuss. Okay. Mayor, anything?
I'm good.
Mr. Kleiner, anything? All right, being no questions from the commission or from the audience, I'd be looking for a motion to move into executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Vignola. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, moving into executive session at 5:00 PM for interview purposes and personnel matters.
Please be advised this ends the public portion of today's meeting. Thank you.